Hello everyone, and welcome to this session of Microsoft Defender for IoT and XDR OT Security quarterly product updates. In today's session, we will go through the latest developments and investments that we've been doing for OT security within Microsoft during this last quarter of 2024, the beginning of winter. And we are happy to present all of them. The goal of this session is to go through, present, provide some tips and tricks from each of our domain leads. I'm Ariel Sagiv, responsible for go-to-market and field enablement, and I work together with our field customers and partners for better adoption of OT security. I'm proud to start today's session. So, where are we and what's new in Q4? In today's session, we will see how building management systems have become part of the XDR unified inventory and how to use them. We will go through the new concept of site security and how some manual actions can be taken to associate specific devices into sites, allowing your organization to manage the site, the physical, to match the organizational structure to the presentation and experience within the XDR. We have invested and delivered improvements with our work with alerts generated by the system, and this applies to a number of components in the system, as well as our new OT security initiative for security posture and exposure management. These latest developments are all part of sensor version 24.1.8, so be sure to update your network sensors to enjoy these latest developments. Last, I'll overview our recent Microsoft Digital Defense report and the recent research updates where we've been investing in new threat intelligence and new capabilities for the product detections and security effectiveness. In case you don't know what Defender for IoT does or you haven't started to use it yet, Defender for IoT and OT security within Microsoft deals with providing security for all unmanaged devices within the enterprise. We focus on discovery of these elements and how to secure them, looking at the risk and posture of these systems within the environment, within the enterprise that are so critical for revenue and business day to day, and allowing security teams to effectively manage alerts and threats and events that are happening on the network. And last, our goal is to take all of this information and security telemetry and make it merge into one experience which security teams can use to be not only capable, but to be effective in time and help organizations continue to do their operations and business securely.
Thank you, Ariel. I will now go over some improvements and new releases in the inventory and discovery areas. So a few months ago, we released the exciting ability to discover OT devices using MDE without requiring any additional deployment in the environment. In the last couple of months, we improved this ability by adding support for more OT specialized protocols. This is something we will continue to improve in the coming months, and we are very excited about. A new capability we released is the new Building Management Systems category, with the goal of using Defender for IoT specialized knowledge to provide more security value for BMS devices. This can now be seen in the Unified Device Inventory in XDR. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Amit Cohen, a product manager at Microsoft Defender for IoT. Today I'll walk you through some exciting updates, recent updates we have delivered in the areas of site security and the threat detection and management during the last quarter. The goal is to show how this feature address the critical customer use cases that were raised during the last Q, provide some overview for the capabilities and showing a short demo for the value. So let's start with the site security. Before diving into site security, into the recent updates for site security, I'll share a short overview about what is site security. So site security is a new core experience that within Microsoft Defender for OT in the XDR portal, in the Defender portal, that tailored specifically for OT environments and empowers security teams to define and manage their physical sites like plants and facilities and efficiently, quickly associate devices to these sites by leveraging intelligent algorithm that automatically group the devices into the appropriate site, to the appropriate physical location seamlessly without any need for additional configuration, appliance, or a long deployment process. So during the last Q, we have announced a new feature that's called Manual Site Association. The Manual Site Association allows customers, users to define the site for a specific device and adjust the automatic association that was defined by site security for specific use cases. Those use cases can be use cases where there is a network a complex network that was not defined or was not mapped accurately by the algorithm. It can be also some um, new devices or some devices that were not part of the initial algorithm. And we have found from customers that that during their day-to-day, during some specific use cases, they would like to have the ability to assign the site for a specific device for specific use cases. So the Manual Site Association is available through two different experiences. One is the inventory, and the second one is through the site security, the site creation wizard. And we'll start with the inventory experience. So as I said, the feature actually enables the security admins to manually assign or adjust the site location for specific device or for bulk of devices directly from the inventory. And it's matter and it's important for customers because sometimes they need to accurate the site assignments for more precise visibility and for more accurate visibility, and to make sure that the association and the site and the site assignment is 100% correct and reflect correctly the situation in the organization. Some key capabilities as part of it is the ability to set sites, so admins can override automatic site assignments if needed, and manually associate devices to a specific site. Also bulk update, so devices can be updated like in one time, and devices can be set also to unassigned or to be resetted back to the algorithm if needed. I'll quickly show a demo about how users can update the site assignments in just a few clicks. Okay, so currently we are in the XDR inventory, and customers can navigate to the inventory and look or filter for a specific device they would like to manage, or actually they might find in their day-to-day once they are looking or investigating a specific device that the site is not accurate, represent the physical location for a specific device. In that case, let's take for example a device that I know that is not in the right physical location. I can click on it. I can leverage the new action that we have introduced in the site in the inventory experience that called set site. The set site allows to the customers to either reset the manual selection, means I previously set a site for this device and I want to regret. I want to bring it back to the algorithm and to not decide manually what should be the physical site for that for the device. I can set a site manually from one of the sites that I've created before, or I can decide that I don't want to manage the site for this device at all and set unassigned. So that's about the manual site association from the inventory. Another feature we have delivered that related for that is the manual site association through the site creation wizard. So site security, as I said, this is the main experience that's available today for customers to manage their sites and associate devices for their sites. And while creating a new site or editing a site, we have introduced a new step during the site creation or site edit wizard that can help customers to not only associate the devices from the algorithm. Currently, for example, I've decided that I want to associate these 53 devices that based on the algorithm located in the same physical location. And in the new step that we have introduced, let me take another site that might have better devices to demonstrate. So in the new step we have introduced it called preview devices. We are showing the list of devices that will be associated to the site based on the algorithm, and I also have the ability to deselect a specific device if I want to say that it's to accurate represent the site and define that it should not be part of the specific site that I'm currently creating, to make it more accurate, of course, with the ability to search based on a specific subnet mask, specific hostname, specific IP or MAC that I would like to make sure they are excluded from the site based on my network topology. And I'll move forward with the threat detection and management. In the threat detection and management, we have introduced a few improvements that can help to manage the alert fatigue and improve the alert fine-tune process for customers. All those improvements driven from customer requests, from customers' feedbacks. So we're sure that they will deliver value for customers and will meet use cases for many of Defender for IT customers. The first improvement, the first new feature called aggregating policy alert violations. So actually, alert fatigue is a real challenge for security teams, and that's why we have introduced this new feature. The feature actually reduced the noise, the alert noise for customers by consolidating identical policy violation alerts into a single alert while still maintaining event level visibility. Just as a reminder, policy violation alerts are alerts that derived from a baseline violation. Okay, for example, when a new sensor is being installed, the sensor is in a learning mode. During the learning mode, the system learns the baseline, the expected behavior, the usual behavior in the network, and every time we see a deviation from the baseline, a new policy violation alert is being triggered. Okay, and we have a few different policy violation alerts that represent each of them different security concern. So those policy violation alerts were so far each different deviation from the baseline were represented in a single alert. And in this new feature, we have introduced new capabilities that will help to streamline the alert investigation process and reduce the alert fatigue. And I'll show how it's working also in a short demo. So we currently can see in Microsoft Defender for IT and a policy violation alert that was triggered that called unpermitted usage of Modbus function code. This alert is currently aggregating two different actions that violated from the baseline. I can see that by reviewing the violation counts, which is a new parameter that's available in the alert details that represent how many times this unpermitted usage of Modbus function code happened. And if I want to review which exactly functions, which exactly violation happens, which exactly the deviation from the baseline happened in my environment, I can go through the new violation tab that we have introduced as part of the alert page, and export to CSV the list of functions, the list of violations that were deviated from the baseline. We can see that also that as part of the alert page we are showing some indication for the SOC that multiple violations have been detected as part of that alert, so that we will grab the attention of the SOC analyst or the OT engineer that this violation happened few times. And so that if needed for investigation processes, users will be able to go through the violation tab and explore that in more details. More in the area of the alerts. Sorry, I'm sharing my screen again. So two more features we have introduced in the last quarter related to the alert investigation and alert fine-tune process. One is improvement for the DDoS, the denial of service attack. So far, the denial of service attack in Defender for OT showed only one of the sources and the destinations that were involved as part of the alert, like only partial view of the compromised assets that related for the DDoS attacks. In the new and the improved behavior, all the involved assets will be displayed as part of the alert page. You can see that in the screenshots here that as part of the entities, we are showing the entire compromised assets, the entire impacted assets is part of the alert page, and it's relevant for both the sensor interface, the Azure interface, and Sentinel interface. In all of them, those assets will be displayed. And additional improvement for login alerts. For login related alerts, you can see here the list of alerts such as database login failed, FTP login failed, excessive login attempts, and more. We have enriched the alerts with additional alert parameters, with additional details that so far were visible only through the pickup and currently available without any need to open pickup and analyze the alerts. And very relevant for the alert investigation. It can be the count of how many times user try to log in with failed password and which exactly account names were used, and the timelines and the dates when it happens, etc., etc. Again, all of this from customers' feedbacks for details that might be relevant for alert investigation. So that should be available for the alert page, in the alert page for all the affected alerts that displayed here, starting from version 24.1.5. And lastly, FQDN allow list. So this is also driven from customers' requests. So FQDN is a feature. FQDN allow list is a feature in the sensor in Defender for OT that allows customers to define specific FQDN, specific domains that should be excluded from the alert mechanism. We should not raise for them alerts such as unauthorized internet connectivity. And before the new improvements, customers needed to go alert by alert, domain by domain, and edit for the allow list. And we have added the support for wildcard in order to make the process more efficient and make the process to exclude authorized or like eligible or like authorized domains from the alerts in case needed by leveraging the specific format using the wildcard without the need to go one by one. So that's all. This is some of the new innovation, the new changes that were delivered during the last quarter in the areas of site security and the threat detection. Happy to hear any feedbacks or more improvements that might be relevant. That's all from my end.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining. My name is Meir Saudai, and I'm leading the area of exposure management in the OT network for MDIoT. I'm part of the product group. And today I will share a bit of what we've done in the recent quarter, which is related to Microsoft exposure management. And actually, what we have done, we've collaborated with this group that is actually announced its GA release as part of the RSA conference a few weeks ago. And as part of that, we have actually released our OT security initiative. That has several purposes that I will highlight in this video. So just before I'll show our specific initiative, I just want to highlight the blog that was out as part of this release. So Microsoft Exposure Management have released several capabilities. Actually, their domain is focused on the evolution of their vulnerability management and the transformation of bringing all the different data points that are currently being managed as a siloed and converge them into a unified platform. And of course, that OT security is a major part of that. And they've released a lot of capabilities that would allow the risk manager to prioritize the risk effectively and to actually form a plan on how to approach this risk and to focus on the most critical ones. As part of that, one of the main capabilities that they've released is focused on something that is called Unified Exposure Insights. And here the idea is actually to show the organization and the decision makers what is the current posture state of your network, of your organization, meaning that you would have visibility to what is the situation right now. If we would like now to form a plan, to form an initiative, what do we need to do? And eventually, all of this is serving as a unified framework for all the different persona and stakeholders in the business to align and to talk in the same language and to understand what they should do. So when we're talking about product capabilities, so here you can see the new pane of exposure management in Defender portal, and we will dive into the initiative pane. And here you can see all of the initiatives that the organization may have. It might be related now to cloud or endpoint security. And here we also have our initiative, which is focused on OT security. Now, to find this initiative, you can either search here among the different initiatives, or you can mark it as a favorite, and then you would have it in the top bar, and you would have visibility to the current state of your OT network. Now, when you click on the OT security initiative, you would see several metrics. I would like to highlight that if for some reason you don't have these metrics visible, then you need to do several things in order to do so. You would see in the site pane that you need to do a few actions. The first one is to onboard OT security and the MDIoT trial or license. This is the first step. And the next step that is required is the ability to set up sites, because all of the devices that we are looking to secure are being associated to sites, to physical sites. They can be plants or any physical location that you have in your organization. And based on that, once they are being associated, then we are starting to calculate the different metrics that we have and provide you with the various insights that are related to exposure management and security posture. Now, once you've completed the prerequisite, you will see here the metrics. So I will open the initiative in full screen. and you will have a complete view. So the initiative framework is based on several steps. First of all, you can see the score that you have here, the current score of your organization. And if you would like, for example, as part of your business process now to set a target score, let's say for the next semester, for the next quarter, then you can set the score, and eventually you would see that it would be reflected accordingly, according to your target. You would see what was the progress of your current score according to the target score that you defined. Now, in order to increase the score and reduce the attack surface, you have several metrics. Now, each of those metrics is being broken down to security recommendations. So, for example, the first metric that we are seeing, this is the baseline metric, is of unprotected devices, unprotected OT devices that we've discovered using Defender for IoT, but they are not being associated to any site. So in order to get full security value on them and all of the posture insights that we can provide, then that means that you would need to follow the security recommendation. And this security recommendation would guide you on what are the steps that needs to be done in order to get the full security value. So this is the general concept of the initiative. You have the general score that is being broken down to metrics, and each of these metrics has the recommendation and the remediation steps of exactly what you need to do in order to resolve that. For each of those metrics, you can also see the affected assets that are being associated to them, and you can dive into each and every asset in order to see them and get more information and more context on what is the recommendation and what are the steps that are being required to do in order to mitigate the threat and the risk on this specific asset. Now, the main metrics that we are seeing here, so I mentioned the unprotected OT devices. We have also metrics that are related to insecure protocols. So this is part of security recommendations that we are adding and expanding for misconfiguration. You also have devices that are being associated to sites with critical vulnerabilities, and also devices that are using insecure or unauthenticated protocols without authentication, like Telnet and VNC, for example. And then you can dive and see what's required in order to secure those specific protocol and reduce the risk around this area. In addition to the security metrics, and if you want, you can see the full view here. You can see how many exposed assets you have for each of them. You can also decide what is the weight for this metric. For example, if you know that vulnerable devices, it might be something that you know that your organization is not so driven about, and maybe you have other compensating control that you're planning to take in order to reduce the risk. Then you can reduce the level of severity for this metric, and based on that, the score will be adjusted accordingly. So this is something that you can customize according to your organization process. And another thing that we've talked about is that for each metric, you will have also the associated recommendation. So you will have also a complete view of the security recommendation here. And lastly, you have also the history. So here you can follow the trends. What was the initiative score over time, and you can track the progress. You can see here if there was major upticks that happened during that, and follow and see what actually caused, what triggered this increase or decrease for the entire initiative. Maybe there were a lot of unprotected devices that have now been discovered, and that might reduce the overall score of the initiative. So here you will have complete visibility to and breakdown to the score over time and the ability to track the history, eventually in order to meet your target score that you're planning to set for your organization. So this conclude the OT security initiative. We also have another initiative here, which is more focused on enterprise IoT security that we have also released to public preview recently during this quarter. So this one has slightly different metrics. And overall, we are planning to utilize all of this concept of exposure management and tie up with a lot of new capabilities that will come down the road that will plan to enhance the visibility for the OT and network personas in the organization and provide you with better security value to protect your devices that you're planning to secure as part of this domain. Thank you very much.
Great. So the last topic for today. Let's look at the latest releases and developments within our security research teams and the latest developments of OT security research that we've released and are continuously developing into the product to be a cutting-edge OT security system. In the recent yearly report, the Microsoft Digital Defense Report, and you can search and look it up, we've been looking at some interesting topics. The first, the global hybrid warfare, which evolved, has erupted in different areas around the globe, and its impacts on OT security. It affects businesses which rely on automation and operational technology across the globe in different regions. And we hope for these conflicts to end as soon as possible. But this is affecting our customers, affecting the industry from retail to water utilities, energy utilities. And within the report, we have some interesting insights and things that were observed, and some tips and common practices that can be adopted in different industries. More specifically, we've zoomed into some stories from the front line around securing data centers. Data center security is a challenge. The networks, there are high bandwidth networks with multiple data centers working together, and of course the criticality of data centers today for today's businesses and national security is cardinal. And last, we've in the dedicated topic, we've overviewed the recent challenges and trends seen by Microsoft across OT security, across industries, such as the introduction of AI, and that's both on the defensive side as well as the offensive side. Wireless security, which is now more than ever everywhere in most systems and easier to implement, but comes with its own world of security posture challenges. And last, a global breakdown of vulnerabilities as our security teams see them cross industry, and with some insights on which are more prevalent, and of course legacy is there, legacy is still there. And we see that it's not only the legacy systems, but also the default configurations and insecure protocols or setups that we see them still running in production and affect security posture and our challenges defenders to defend our enterprises. And that's it. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Looking forward for a great first quarter of 2025. Happy New Year, and see you soon. Thank you.